I think I fundamentally agree, but I'm not entirely sure if I agree with the way that you framed it. Older games from like the NES era had to find ways to make those games last. They had very limited cartridge space to work with, and they wanted these games to last for 20, 30, 40 hours, just like experiences we have today. And the way that they did that was by making them hard. An experienced gamer can get through Sonic the Hedgehog 2 in like, what, an hour? Speedruns are even shorter. But when you were a kid and you constantly died and went back to the first level, you would get hours and hours and hours of playtime out of that game. It was a very simple way to make sure that games lasted a long time even though they didn't have a lot of content. We don't have those technological limitations anymore, so we are more interested in allowing every gamer to see every bit of the content. If a gamer is playing for 30 hours, then they're experiencing 30 hours of new and diverse content. And so, yeah, I think that most games today are designed so that you never have to die. Because if you die, you don't see new content, and that reduces the value proposition of the game for you. This is partially because we have a really fucked up view that better games are longer games. I could do a whole video about why that's not the case. But because we have this view, we also have this corollary view that the worst design mistake you can make is having someone put your game down early. So whenever there's a threat of difficulty making someone put the controller down, designers shy away from it. And I don't necessarily think this is bad. I don't actually think that there's anything good or noble about being good at video games. I don't think playing games on hard or beating games that other people can't make you a better person or even a better gamer. I just think that there's room for both kinds of experiences. Like, games that you never die and get to see a whole bunch of content are cool too, but there's also space for games where you repeatedly try your hand at challenges and work toward a sort of mastery. Look at how well Celeste did. Celeste is all about that, just really hard challenges that you hammer away at until you figure them out. And it was even great at storytelling. It used that as a sort of framing device for how to cope with mental illness. And I mean, as someone with mental illness, that's kind of what it's like. Sometimes you have to hammer at it and just keep telling yourself you can do this. And then you come out at the other end feeling better for it. If we only had games that quote-unquote held your hand, we would never have experiences like Celeste. And I think that would actually rob us from some pretty significant storytelling. And I actually think that's the key here. We have to ask ourselves, what does the difficulty of this game do? If it's not doing anything, if it's just hard for hard's sake, then maybe it is better if the game just holds your hand. But if the difficulty is doing something, if it's expressing a tone or telling a story or otherwise getting an emotion across to the player, then it's a good thing. I think I'd like to see more designers use difficulty as a storytelling method going on into the future, personally.